Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I've got a new set of ratchets for you here that I just picked up off of the marketplace, and these ratchets are unique in that they are not very common here in the United States. And the manufacturer for these is a company called, and feel free to correct me in the comments below, but I'm going to call it Tone or Tone. And this manufacturer builds ratchets specifically overseas and in the country of Japan. And if you've been watching my videos, I have actually been purchasing quite a few Japanese manufactured tools for various reasons. But one really good reason right now is because pricing, especially on these ones, pricing is really very good because the yen is losing value currently and the American dollar is still holding strong. So I would encourage you guys, if you are looking at purchasing tools or trying to find new tools, Japan is a great place to start purchasing tools right now because, one, they make great tools, but two, the pricing is great. What we'll have here is, actually these are very similar in design, actually identical, except for this push button. If you look up here, the push button's slightly larger on this 12.7 millimeter, which is a 1/2 inch drive, and then this 9.5 millimeter, which is a 3/8 inch drive. The push button here is actually slightly different, and you flip them over, that becomes apparent. The drives, right, you can see that the 1/2 inch is much bigger, and you can see that the 3/8 drive is much smaller. So, taking a look at them, what they both have, exact same head and tooth count, exact same handle, right? And so the tooth count's going to come in at 72 teeth. And then you're looking also at the overall length is going to be 227 millimeters. That equates to 9 inches, almost right on the dot, 9 inches in overall length. And as I mentioned in the back, these are made in Japan. And here's the website if you want to visit them there as well. So let's take a look at these. Now these are flex head ratchets, nothing necessarily new. Several manufacturers actually use this similar. What it is there's a spring down inside here, and this is basically a notched, I don't want to call it a bit, but basically a notched piece of steel that rides in these grooves, right? These little V channels, and it allows it to kind of bounce up and down as you pick your degree. So that roughly changes it, right? Let's say about 10 degrees, 10 to 15 degrees each time you move it. And so you could go a full 90 this direction and a full 90 that direction from center. So overall fit and finish, this is chrome. It is a nice chrome. It is a satin chrome, which I actually prefer, I think, over regular chrome, honestly, because it gives you a little bit of texture, especially when it's oily. It's just, yeah, overall I prefer that. Now it also has these recesses here, and this forging is actually quite nice. Right, you can see the manufacturer tone on both sides. You got a little bit of gripping here for your hand or your thumb, and you have the part number here, which this one is RH3F, Japan, and then it's the manufacturing year, 24, and then the 4 has to deal with the month of year that's been manufactured. Up here, you can see the selector switch is actually recessed as well, but although the far finger grip does allow for it to come up a little bit, so it actually protrudes upwards. Now that, to me, at this corner point right here, seems a little bit thin, but we'll see over time how well that holds up. But overall, fit, finish, feel is great. I will notice here that the anvil, the anvil looks to be machined quite nice, and it actually extends as one whole large piece outwards to protect, and it looks like also maybe to help give it some sort of, shimming against the frame itself or the body itself and the head. And that's a unique feature that you don't actually see that often, because as you tend to put leverage on it, it's going to allow it to push against the face and not necessarily bind up inside with the teeth. So that is actually a pretty decent design. How well that holds up with heavy application, we'll see. And then the ball, let's check the ball real quick. It's centered very well and works as intended. So yeah, quite nice there. It does have a pressed pin through the center there, but all in all, pretty decent. We'll take a look here real quick too, since we're talking about virtually the same ratchet, at the 1/2 inch drive. Now that part number changes to RH4FCH, And here they are side by side, so you can see the stamping is a little bit different. I like this stamping on this one a little bit better. But RH3 versus RH4, FH, and then there's a C in this one. And then the stamping date, 2023. But the handle is exactly the same. Now, how does that feel in the hand? It actually feels pretty decent. It has kind of like an hourglass or a teardrop feel, which allows you to grab on pretty decent. It could probably be slightly a little bit larger, but if you're looking for something compact that's easy to use, or maybe say you were looking to possibly throw a cheater bar over the top of it, you got plenty of room to fit one inside there. So not a bad gig in itself. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, why did they make a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 drive exactly the same? Right? Because these heads are actually quite small. They're very, very tight, and even the thickness here too is nice too. For being a 72 tooth ratchet, these are good dimensions. They're definitely on the smaller end for these ratchets. Now for the 1/2 inch, what would be advantageous for this is if you're trying to get in tight spots. Of course, yeah, you could run. Let's say this is a 14 mil, and you're running 14 mil in there. That's fine if you got only large 1/2 inch sockets that you carry around. That's nice because you can kind of treat it like a 3/8 inch drive, but with a 1/2 inch. But the other part that's nice is, let's say you're working on a really tight confined space, and your larger 1/2 inch drive ratchets don't quite fit in there. Well, guess what? You got this guy that could get in there nice and run a much larger socket, right? Like say an 1.25 inches. That works perfect. Now you can get it fairly tight, but you're obviously not going to run it to full torque. You'll have to come back and run it with a larger breaker bar or impact or what have you, right? The point of this ratchet is to get you 3/4 of the way there. Or maybe that bolt doesn't require a whole lot of torquing, and this will get you all the way there. But that's where these actually come in really handy. And I've been wanting to get one with a smaller head like this for a while, and Tone has done a great job at offering this ratchet. Now you might ask yourself, okay, well, where do I pick this up at? Amazon Japan sells it, and you can pick up either of these. Let's see, the 3/8 inch drive. This one is currently just under 30 bucks. I want to say like 28 bucks. And then I bought this one, I think, at 35, although I think it's already back up to 38. These will fluctuate in price currently, guys. So just keep an eye on them. Sometimes just throw them in your Amazon cart, and you'll have a chance to see them as they pop up on sale. But overall, great ratchets, great tooth count. Back drag, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Probably not quite as good as my gear wrench, but not far off. And it has a nice flex to it, and it's less than a gear wrench. I mean, you're talking about Japanese quality. I mean, the fit and finish versus gear wrench, which may or may not be either made in Taiwan or China. This is quality. These are good, and they're serviceable, right? They have the ability to go in here and actually pop this out and pull the handle out and service it. So serviceable wrenches by Tone at a great price, especially right now. Guys, it's a no-brainer. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Have you guys picked up a set of these? Do you like your set? Or do you suggest something else that's out there? And if you guys haven't done already, please like and please subscribe. Otherwise, these videos don't pop up on your radar. So thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you soon.